Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. I'm back for another Roscoe's recap, and this viewing party was for All Stars 8 episode 9. And the guests this week were LaLa Ri and Alexis Michelle, who both competed on All Stars 8. If you want to watch the full viewing party on Roscoe's channel, I'll put a link in the description. Today we're going to be talking about Alexis Michelle admitting that she made a mistake by sending LaLa Ri home, some backstage tea about an off-camera conversation between Jimbo and Alexis, and Alexis calls out Kandy Muse's roast jokes for crossing the line. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. Before the episode started, they mentioned that on All Stars 8, Alexis had said that she had a crush on LaLa Ri, and host Naysha Lopez clarified that it was just a coincidence that Alexis and LaLa were booked for the same Roscoe's viewing party and it wasn't done on purpose. And LaLa also clarified that she and Alexis have never got together because LaLa has a boyfriend already. They then started the episode and they talked about what happened in last week's episode when Alexis sent home LaLa, even though LaLa had saved Alexis the week before. Naysha said that Alexis had been vocal since last week's episode that she regrets her choice, and for example on Twitter, Alexis said that she should have sent Kandy home instead, and Naysha asked Alexis how she felt about her decision. Alexis said, quote, "I wrestled with it before I made the decision. I wrestled with it the second I had the lipstick in my hand. I wrestled with it after a couple good nights sleep. I was literally like, what the F did I do?" Alexis went on to explain that Drag Race is designed to take queens out of their comfort zones and throw you off your centre and mess up your inner compass. And Alexis said that she owns the fact that other people can stay true to their compass easier than Alexis did. And Alexis said she should have kept LaLa and said, quote, "I wish I could change it." However, Alexis did say that that wasn't a dig at Kandy either, but Alexis thinks that it was, quote, "wrong that the producers make the queens eliminate each other." And Alexis said that people always say to the queens that they signed up for this, but Alexis said that the queens didn't know what format the show would take, and apparently some queens thought that they might adopt the format of All Stars 7 with no eliminations. But Alexis said if she could go back, she would change her decision and she would send Kandy home instead of LaLa, and she added, quote, "and I have to live with that and I'm sorry." Naysha then added that in her opinion, if production wants a certain queen to go home, they will make sure that it happens. And Naysha suggested that if Alexis had pulled Kandy's lipstick instead of LaLa's, production might have said that Alexis lost the lip sync and gone with the group vote instead because the group voted for LaLa to go home. Naysha also made the point that there were a lot of trolls on the internet who attack the queens who are just putting on a show, and you should never attack the queens because it's a TV show at the end of the day. Naysha then asked LaLa if she knew she was going home that episode or whether she thought that she had a chance to stay. LaLa said, quote, "I wasn't surprised, I had felt like it was my time." LaLa said that she knew that the group would vote for LaLa to go instead of Kandy because Kandy was more popular than LaLa. And LaLa also did have a feeling that Alexis had pulled her lipstick. But LaLa disagreed with what Naysha had said about production rigging the outcome because LaLa said that when she got eliminated, everyone on the production team came out and gave LaLa a standing ovation. And they said that they were all, quote, "shocked that LaLa was leaving," and LaLa implied as though her elimination was not part of production's plan. Host Caramel then said that LaLa had joked that she would have eliminated Alexis 2 episodes ago instead of keeping her. LaLa laughed and said it was just a joke and she still would have kept Alexis because, quote, "I'm all about competition, I want to beat the best of the best." LaLa then joked that Kahana Montrese had been in the bottom about 50 times by that episode and said, quote, "I love my sister, but damn girl, let's go. Pack up your bleep bee," and everyone in the audience laughed. Alexis then referred back to what Naysha had said about production rigging the outcome, and Alexis said that there was, quote, "some truth to that." But Alexis said that they had kept Kahana around for a long time and implied as though that went against what production wanted. Batty then said that both Kandy and Alexis are from New York, and Batty asked if that factored into why Alexis decided to save Kandy by sending home LaLa. Alexis said that Kandy was the person that she had the longest history with because they come from the same place and they have similar experiences. Alexis then said, quote, "I have two things to F my NDA and F the NRA," and the audience cheered. And LaLa said that she didn't know what the NRA was, and the audience laughed, and they explained that it meant the National Rifle Association. Alexis then implied as though there was a lot that was cut from the episodes, and also her conversation in the workroom with Kandy when Alexis was deciding who to send home. And Alexis said that there was also some, quote, intimate things that she shared with LaLa and Kandy that weren't shown in the episode, and that there was a, quote, genuine closeness between the girls in the cast. And if Alexis had sent Kandy home instead of LaLa, it would have, quote, felt like a betrayal because she had some emotional bonds with Kandy. They then talked about the challenge on this week's episode, which was a comedy roast of Judge Carson Kressley. Alexis was asked about her infamous roast of Michelle Visage from season 9, when Alexis painted herself green and did not do very well in the challenge. And Alexis spilled some backstage tea about her roast from season 9 and said that the queens get a session with the comedy writers to work on their jokes. And Alexis implied as though the writers made Alexis think that her jokes were funny. Alexis also said that she had lots of note cards with her jokes written on them, and apparently she put all the cards in order, but when the queens go up on stage, they're not allowed to take the cards with them, and production take the cards and put them on stage for the queens. But Alexis implied as though production may have put her cards out of order, because when Alexis got to the podium, her cards were all out of order, which is what threw her off at the beginning and made her, quote, flustered. However, Alexis did say that she knew her jokes were not the best, but a lot of it comes down to delivery. Nasia then brought up a moment from a few episodes ago when Heidi said that Kandy had said that she would send home Jimbo, and then Heidi brought Alexis into the conversation, and Alexis at first said that Kandy did say that, but then seemed to change her mind, and Alexis said that Kandy did not say that. And Nasia asked Alexis what really happened. And Alexis said, quote, "I'm glad you're asking me about this because this is one I'm ready to spill the full tea on." Alexis explained that although it did look like she was backpedaling in the episode, there was some, quote, genuine confusion in Alexis's head. Alexis said that when Heidi asked her if she remembered Kandy saying that about Jimbo, Alexis genuinely didn't remember. But since then, Heidi has, quote, refreshed Alexis's memory of when the conversation happened. Apparently, there was a queen tent outside the workroom where production would put the queens when production needed to do other things. Alexis explained that according to Heidi, Alexis was one day at the front of the tent and the other queens were at the back of the tent, which was a few feet away. And Heidi said that Alexis must have heard what Kandy was saying, and Alexis said it was, quote, very possible, but she just couldn't remember. However, Alexis said what she does remember is that one day, Heidi was having a moment to herself, and Jimbo went to go and check on Heidi. And then after that, Jimbo went to Alexis and said, quote, "I feel really weird." Heidi was upset and she said that Kandy said that if I, referring to Jimbo, land in the bottom, I'm going to be out, or that Jimbo is coming for me, and Jimbo asked Alexis if Alexis had heard Kandy say that. And Alexis didn't remember the conversation that had happened in the Queen tent, so she said to Jimbo that she hadn't heard Kandy say anything like that. But apparently what Alexis did say was, quote, "But I wouldn't be surprised if Kandy did say something like that." And Alexis said that it's no shade to Kandy, but Kandy is a fierce competitor and she is ready to play a tougher game than Alexis. And Alexis said she realises that she's, quote, too soft for reality television. But Alexis summarised and said that the full tea was that she didn't remember hearing Kandy say that about Jimbo, but she did remember the conversation that she had with Jimbo. And when it all came up in the workroom, it did not, quote, feel like it was my place to bring up an off-camera private conversation that Alexis had had with Jimbo, which is why Alexis didn't want to talk about it. And that's also why it seemed like Alexis was backpedaling in the episode. They then watched the Carson Kressley roast, which was this week's Maxi Challenge. And Alexis said that although they only showed 2 minutes per queen, they actually each performed for 5 minutes. And Alexis implied as though some parts may have been cut out to make it look a certain way. Nasia said that everyone did really well, but she asked who else Alexis thought did really well. And Alexis said that she really liked Jessica's performance and felt like Jessica walked the right line between cutting people but also being playful and silly. But Alexis said that she felt as though Kandy, quote, crossed the line a few times and that some of it was cut out, but apparently, quote, Kandy went hard. Naysha asked Alexis if she could give some examples, and Alexis said, quote, I think what she said about me was ugly. I think it was ugly to say that in front of the judges. I think that was too far. And Alexis mentioned the joke that Kandy made about Jimbo that didn't get a laugh, and Kandy said, quote, it's a roast. And apparently there were other moments like that, but they got cut out. They then moved on, and Alexis shared a backstage moment that she had with RuPaul when RuPaul fixed Alexis's wig for the Forensic Queens challenge, and Alexis said she really cherished that moment. And Naysha also shared a moment she had with RuPaul, and apparently RuPaul didn't know any of the queens' names and just said, quote, that one in the silver, and pointed at the queens. And Naysha joked that RuPaul is, quote, no spring chicken, and there are so many queens it's hard to remember all of their names. And Alexis said that you, quote, have to exercise your brain, and if you're being fed what's happening constantly, you don't have to exercise your brain. And people started laughing, and Naysha said that it was true, and we all know that RuPaul has an earpiece and gets fed information from the producers. They then got to the moment in the episode where Jimbo was announced as the winner and all the other queens were in the bottom. And then Jimbo had to lip sync against Silky, Nutmeg, Ganache, and Jimbo won. And just when they were talking about who won the lip sync, Silky made a surprise appearance at Roscoe's and got a big cheer from the crowd. Silky gave out some merchandise including t-shirts with her and Jimbo from the lip sync. Silky got a mic and said, quote, and I'm happy they put all the words that Jimbo mostly knew. And Silky said that for the first half of the song, Silky was pointing at Jimbo because, quote, she didn't know the words. They then got to the part in the episode when Alexis got eliminated and everyone clapped for Alexis. And Naysha asked both Alexis and LaLa what their thoughts were about their time on All Stars 8. LaLa said that she had a really fun time and enjoyed being on the season. However, Alexis said that for her, quote, fun is not the word. And Alexis said she's really happy to be part of the cast of All Stars 8 because a lot of the queens were not, quote, the obvious choice for an All Stars season because they were not as popular as some other queens, but they all still came and did a great job. However, Alexis said that she had never been asked to do All Stars before she was asked to do All Stars 8, and she implied as though she felt like the show would never allow her to win. But after the first episode, Alexis thought that maybe she had a chance to win after they, quote, buttered her up, but then after that, Alexis did some, quote, crazy effing stupid bleep, so it wasn't all fun for me. They then moved on to the audience Q&A, and an audience member said that they had been at one of Alexis's shows many years ago, and her act used to involve a lot of nudity, and they even showed a photo, however you couldn't see the photo on camera. But the audience member asked whether there are some raunchy things that Alexis used to do in her shows, but she can't do anymore since she's been on Drag Race because she's now much better known. And Alexis said she used to do a lot of stuff that she doesn't do anymore, and someone in the audience shouted out that Sherry Pie was the one who recorded the video of Alexis, but it wasn't quite clear what they exactly said. And Naysha said that they didn't want to talk about Sherry. But Alexis said that consent is very important, and Alexis said that when she was a young person, she had a, quote, traumatic experience, and that's why consent is so important. And Alexis hopes that she never made anyone feel uncomfortable in her shows, and the stuff that they used to do in the past, they don't do those sorts of things anymore. They then watched Untucked, and they got to the moment when Alexis said to Jessica that she couldn't pick her lipstick, but then she did. But Alexis said that she didn't mean it like that, and what she really meant was it would be hard for her to pick Jessica's lipstick because she really didn't want to. Alexis also said that what she, quote, hates the most about the edit on this season is that the show hasn't shown any of the relationships between the queens. And Alexis said that Jessica was the person she was closest to out of all of the cast, but you wouldn't know that from the edit. An audience member off camera then started shouting something, but you couldn't hear exactly what they said, but it sounded like they were saying that Alexis was, quote, backpedaling. Alexis then said that she did not manipulate anyone and she did not make promises to anyone, and the audience member then started shouting something else, and Alexis said, quote, "I would love to see how you handle the difficulty of being there." And Nasia then stepped in and said that Drag Race is a television show before it is a competition, and it was clearly rhetorical what Alexis said to Jessica. And Nasia said to the audience member to stop attacking the queens, and Nasia then said, quote, "I've already given you way too much time right now, this was really unnecessary. If you want to talk to her personally, you can do that, but you're not going to do it on my time on this show." And everyone in the audience started clapping. And finally, they went back to the audience for more Q&A, and an audience member asked whether they felt like Kandy Muse relies more on her social game rather than her talent. Alexis said that Kandy is a fierce competitor and she played the game at every angle. And Alexis also said that Kandy, quote, "played the game better than I did," and she doesn't blame Kandy for any of that. And Nasia said that Kandy knows the power of her own voice and she would never let the production get one over on her, and if she wasn't ready, she would make production wait until she was, unlike some other queens. And LaLa said that even since season 13, Kandy is very talented and she's also very good at playing Drag Race. So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recap for All Stars 8 episode 9. What do you think of All Stars 8 so far? And who do you think will win the season? Let me know in the comments. And please remember that Drag Race is just a TV show and it's never okay to send the queens hate or be abusive online, so please just enjoy these videos passively and be mindful of what you post, and that includes in the comments on this video. If you'd like to get access to my videos before they go on YouTube, as well as shoutouts in my videos, priority when submitting interview questions, and also access to my archived videos, you can join my Patreon for just a few dollars a month to unlock these incredible benefits. I'll put a link in the description. And I'd just like to say thank you so much to all of my incredible Patreon members. Your support is really amazing and it really does make such a huge difference to my channel, so thank you all so much. Please make sure you like, comment and share this video as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks for watching and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!